Everyone, so 1917 finally hit wide release near me. This is the latest Sam Mendes movie. Also, cinematography was done by Roger Deakins, score by Thomas Newman, a match made in heaven for me personally. And for those of you that don't know, the premise of 1917 is simple. Obviously, it takes place in 1917, but it's about two British soldiers who must go and do an impossible task. This impossible task involves essentially letting 1,600 soldiers know that they are about to be ambushed. This is a premise that is essentially based on a true story, and it's fascinating, truth be told. But what's more fascinating is, and this might be repeat for what a lot of people have heard, but this movie also is a technical achievement. It's shot to look like it's in one take. Not the first movie to do that, but the way it's done, it's really impressive because this is a movie that's a war film. You know, like I love Birdman, but Birdman's taking place in one location, essentially on a stage. It's impressive, don't get me wrong, but there's not as much gravity in this movie. In terms of like, this movie is essentially having to have bombs go off, people running, people ducking in cover. Again, there's just a lot more going on. Again, I love Birdman. Birdman I own. I love it. But the thing is, it's just incredible to see that this is yet another technical achievement and a step forward for cinematography. Cinematography, for those of you who don't know, it's probably the most important thing for me in a movie, and this movie is like a dream come true. It's incredibly well shot, but what's more impressive is that it's not just that's impressive. All right, yes, you have Thomas Newman's score that I think is pulse-pounding and really effective with what it's going for, but you also have a production design that is really effective. I mean, think about it. The production design has to essentially recreate World War I, whilst at the same time keeping in the back of their mind that, hey, we're shooting this in one take, so they have to make sure everything is period accurate. None of this like, oh, accidentally someone had jeans on set or anything. None of that, because a lot of these shots, the background's important, much in the same way as like Children of Men. It's really effective. That also ties into the costume design. It's very accurate to the time period. Makeup is also on point. Visual effects also are really crucial to this movie, and I think that they are effective too. I don't think enough people are talking about that because, truth be told, I'm sure that there is some CGI, but you don't really think about it because I personally, just the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, they shot this to look like it's a one take, so I'm sure that there is some trickery. And some of that usually does involve CGI. And I couldn't tell what was CGI and what wasn't. So I think it's very impressive on that front as well. But keep in mind also that this is a war movie. It's an action movie and a thriller. And in terms of those fronts, it works on every single one of those genres, especially the action and thriller aspect. My heart was pounding a lot during the final act. The final act of this movie is very hard hitting. That's when all the action goes down, and it's intense. It's very stressful and anxiety-inducing, but it's in the best of ways, honestly. This is a movie also that has good performances. I mean, and it has to be, considering that it's shot in one take, or it's made to look that way. You have Dean Charles Chapman, who many of you probably know through Game of Thrones. He was good in this movie. George McKay is really, really good in this movie. And then you have little performances here and there, and by that I mean they're in it for like 5-10 minutes, if that. You have like Colin Firth, Mark Strong, Andrew Scott. Those performances are good levity to what's going on screen. I think that they are really effective with a little bit of screen time that they're given. But yeah, overall, I can't lie though. You know, I'm going to get into my negatives in a second. I think that this movie works better on a technical achievement level. There is no denying that this will be in my top 10 list for that aspect alone, because it's incredible. I could see myself watching this movie again just for that alone. But here's the thing. As much as I enjoyed the acting with what they were given, I have to say that I think that there are certain scenes in the second act that feel like they could have been cut down a little bit. I get that this movie's like in real time and everything, but there's certain things that happen in the second act where I was kind of like, that feels a little bit too mundane, even though there are certain other mundane activities that go on in like the first act. But I felt like you're trying to like jump into that final act. But this movie, it did take its time, and I feel like maybe upon rewatch, I'll be able to appreciate that more. But for now, I just felt like there were a couple scenes, and I know it's nitpicky, but there were just a couple scenes where it's like, I felt like that could have been cut a little bit. And also, again, this is a movie that works better on a technical aspect. Yes, there's more character development than, like, say, Dunkirk, but it's a movie that I feel like you're not going to show this to friends and be like, this movie has some of the best character development. This is a movie that, if you're with friends, you'll be like, listen, this has some of the best filmmaking that you're going to see. Watch it for that alone. And you know something? Sometimes that's all you need. I hope that maybe upon rewatching, I'll get more emotional with some of these arcs of the characters and everything, but I just felt like the movie isn't going for that. It's going for that feeling of, hey, you're in the trenches with these people. You're on the trenches with this like man on a mission type film that's kind of like a video game when you think about it, like with the different levels and everything. And on those fronts alone, I can understand why they did the film the way they did it, and I can respect that. But again, if someone's like, oh, I didn't like the movie because it wasn't, well fleshed out with the characters and everything, I get it, but it's not a criticism for me personally. 1917 overall, it's a very well-crafted movie. As you can probably tell by now, that's my thoughts. I think it's a very well-crafted movie. I can see myself rewatching for the craftsmanship alone. And Sam Mendes, you did a great job. I forgive you for Spectre. And 1917, for me personally, I'll be giving it a 4.5 out of 5 rating, which, for those like a hot sauce rating, gets the good old Tabasco rating. That's right, everyone. For those of you that are new to my channel, Tabasco rating is essentially a 4.5 or 4.75 rating. It means I really like the movie, obviously. So, guys, 1917, what did you think about it? Is it your favorite World War I movie? I mean, there's only like 2 World War I movies. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And again, did you like 1917? Comment section down below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.